Your requests, your music, your requests, your music.
The very end month of 2006, so nearly 2007 actually.
I believe it was 2008, so I'm a newbie here really, I am at the moment.
2006 it was. Yeah, 2006, July I think.
I joined in 2007.
It was about in 1967. I'd had Alan Timbrell working with me as an apprentice in the GPO days, and he invited me along to a studio which they built in Weybridge Hospital, which we called the Shoebox. It was upstairs in the nurses' quarters, and he said, you know, come along, give it a hand. I did, and I've been here ever since.
What role do I have at Radio Way? I'm a presenter on the Brunchtime Breakfast Show and also on the Soul Plane, which is a funk and soul show in Friday evenings.
I'm the chief engineer of Radio Way, and I also have a Saturday morning programme that I've been presenting for, well, since about 2009.
I present a show every Tuesday afternoon between 12 and 3 called Afternoon Delights, which I play every type of music possible. From Tchaikovsky to Sinatra, you name it, I will play it. It's a real haberdashery of music.
I do present the Wednesday morning Brunchtime Breakfast Show, and I've got an evening show on Thursday from 5 to 6, which is an hour of relaxing, chilled out music, and I'm also one of the committees. I coordinate all the outside events that we do to raise money.
I look after the homegrown drama and comedy for the station, so I have a little team of people now who are very willing to make productions, and we're now getting asked by other playwrights all around the world actually to make their plays come to life on Radio A, so that's really exciting.
It's got two things. It's a wonderful, unique radio station, different from other radio stations, but also it has the element that is the hospital, and I like to go up to the wards and meet the patients. So unlike most radio stations, you actually get to meet your listeners.
It combines a mixture of my my interests. One's electronics, one's sort of medical, and another one is being on FM.
I think it's the freedom to do what we want and sort of try new things and not be bogged down by playlists and deals and things, you know, the spirit of independent radio really. And we've got our double audience, we've got the hospital and the community, so it's really good.
I've always believed in a community. I think if you haven't got a community, you've got nothing. You just go to work, come home, in the door, you won't know who your next door neighbour is. And it's nice to have a community and be involved in it. That's what I like. And I think the people in the hospital, they see people, and it's being involved in it. I'm a great believer of a community and a community spirit.
As Mandy said, it's unique because you actually get to meet your listeners. It goes to the hospital, but no, I think it's just because of the people. I think that's why I enjoy it anyway. That's what makes it unique.
Well, by far the internet coming in, because when I first started there was no internet, it was just the hospital. So really it's the internet, definitely. That's made a huge difference.
Wow. When I first started, we had slip mats. We used to go around to the pubs and kind of say, can we have one of these here? And we used to cut them in circles and put them on the turntable for slip mats. And the technology has overtaken everything far beyond my imagination. I haven't kept up with it, but I find it fascinating the way it's progressed and what we can do with it.
Well, it was already on internet at the time, but just having a good bunch of people to work with, and I think that's been quite good actually. Changed the committee a few times.
Well, when I started, we only used to broadcast in the evenings, but then we brought in daytime shows and we went on the internet. And yeah, now we're full-time radio station. The internet's been the biggest thing, of course.
I think we've had more diverse stuff. We used to have lots of easy listening, sort of requesty things. Now we've got a huge spectrum of specialist music, drama, current affairs. It's a much more broad church radio station now.
I got a call one Sunday afternoon when I was at having a roast dinner with my parents down in Salisbury, and it was from Roger Manley, and he said to me, "I've got a guy that you might want to interview. I've told him you'd be best interviewing him. His name's Chip Hawkes." And I said, "Who?" And he said, "Chip Hawkes." And he said he used to be with a really popular group back in the 60s. You might know them, they're called the Tremolos. I said, "I've never heard of them in my life."
Yeah, I was in about 20 minutes into my show, and then suddenly Tim Mitchell burst in and said, "You're not actually broadcasting at the moment." So I thought that was quite funny.
And he said, "Well, anyway, I've told him you're the best person to interview him." And so I set about setting up an interview for this guy that I'd never met before.
We were doing an outside event, and we had everything set up. And sometimes people use our equipment, and this particular children's entertainer wanted to use our radio mic. And we were all inside the gazebo which we used, absolutely killing ourselves, but we didn't dare say anything. He was filthy. He was trying to be, what's the word? Innuendo wasn't in it. I mean, he was the worst children's entertainer I've ever seen.
Promptly told my mother, and she had a meltdown because obviously this was like the boy zone or the One Direction of her time. And the day he arrived, I think it stood in my favour because I wasn't starstruck at all. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know until after the interview just how big he was in the 60s, so it was quite amusing.
I think I always remember we done this spoof of covering the boat race from my home in Newhall, and we had the baby bath there as the image of the oars going in and out the water, and things like that. And there was Alan and John in the studio playing various ship's horns of the Queen Mary coming into Southampton.
I did an In My Opinion once, which is our chat show, and I accidentally squeezed the lever of my chair and disappeared below the desk, which all the panellists thought was hilarious. It still makes me chuckle when I listen back to that one.
This person rang up and said, "This nurse said, I've got a patient in a bit of difficulty." She said, can you play us some music?" So I said, "Certainly." So I put this record on, and It's Impossible, Perry Como. And I don't think he'd done 2 revolutions when the phone rang again. He said, "Can you play something else, because we've had to sterilise this woman?" I thought, "Oh, yes, certainly." So I had to think of the next one. "I'm Coming Home." I think it was Lonnie Donegan. And 2 circles it went, and she came back again and said, "Can you play something else? Complications have set in and she can't go home." So what do you do? So I put Spike Jones' City Slickers on, Cocktails for Two. That's the only thing I could think of. But it was serious at the time, but to me it was, well, how do you get involved in these situations? It was really funny at the time.
I'd like to see us get our FM licence finally.
I think we'll have probably have an FM licence if that's FM still going. We'll probably have a DAB licence as well, and we'll be broadcasting to everybody in the universe, probably to Mars as well.
Well, it would be nice if we got an FM licence, and as Alan said, a DAB licence, then we could broadcast to everybody. But as it happens at the moment, we've just got to build up our listenership, and I think hopefully we'll manage to do that in our 50th year and get more listeners.
Well, I think we need to get onto digital. I really hope we do that. In the meantime, if we got our FM licence, that would be nice. But I think digital is probably the way to go, and stay on the internet as well, of course.
I hope it goes way out in the community. I love to see us be on the air 24 hours a day like we are now, but much with a radio frequency like a commercial station, but purely for volunteers, non-profit making, and getting out to the people to create a community spirit where everyone can get involved and take part in it. We know what's going on, and you can say people can go there. A community radio. I'd love to see a community radio here.